Howdy folks, welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. Today I'm derping around in KV-5 platoons. Why am I derping around in KV-5 platoons? Because they're hilarious, that's why. This tank is great. Well, it is and it isn't. It's a premium tier 8 heavy tank, and it's only available on certain occasions in the gift shop. You can't actually just go out and buy yourself a KV-5. You have to pay attention to the announcements on the World of Tanks portal page and snap this thing up when it's available. It is going to be expensive. It's a tier 8 premium heavy after all, and they are the most expensive premium tanks in World of Tanks, but if you can convince another one or two of your friends to get one of these tanks, KV-5 platoons are almost as much fun as TOG platoons. The tank itself isn't actually that good. It's not bad, but it's certainly not a very good tank, and that's, you know, as it should be. It's a premium tank after all. The gun is best described as average. It has not a particularly large amount of alpha damage. The penetration is not particularly good. The aiming time is shockingly bad. The accuracy is shockingly bad. The tank itself does have a lot of armour, but it's all flat surfaces and it's riddled with weak spots. It also has terrible gun depression. So why am I saying that everybody who possibly can should go out and get themselves a KV-5? Well, it's because when you get three of these things in a platoon together, they don't take shit from anything. This is a tier 9 game, and this is the worst possible matchmaking you will see in a KV-5. It will never see tier 10s. Just down this road here we have an IS-8. KV-5 is not scared of IS-8s. We weren't stopping for anybody here. Initially I was going to try and ram this guy. And I did do some damage from ramming, but I wanted to make sure that I took his tracks off so he couldn't back up, so that Quickie Baby and I could get stuck in as well. And yes, I did just get shot in the back there from the rain on my own team. But IS-8 Roffle stomped. Now Ike is giving me cover, using his own tank to shield me from this ST1. Obviously I'm sitting here on the lowest health, so the ST1's going to want to be shooting at me first, and oh, I am definitely taking advantage of Ike's kind offer of protection. Because you see, KV-5 platoons, like TOG platoons, are not platoons of 3 tanks. They are one big tank with a shared health pool. And that ST1 is going to get the good news next. He's just fired at the Lorraine, and I don't know why the Lorraine is just sitting there in front of him. But, yeah. Oh, hello! Well, fuck my life. That's 2 tier 9 heavy tanks. I mean, you know, we didn't do all the damage to these guys, but we did enough. and it's the prospect of 3 of these juggernauts rolling towards you that just seems to inspire courage in the rest of your team. You've got a wall of KV-5s rumbling towards the enemy team. Everybody else around you just seems to put their man pants on, find out where they kept their brave pills, and back you up. The T-54 and the Lorraine were the ones doing most of the damage, but there is no way they would have charged an IS-8 and an ST-1 if 3 KV-5s hadn't been leading the charge for them. And I do find that a lot. In KV-5 platoons, if you're aggressive and confident, and you push forward, and you don't stop, and you don't take shit from any of those tier 9s, you will tend to attract a cluster of curious medium tanks who follow you around and basically kill everything that shoots at you. Of course, the thing about the KV-5 is that it isn't just a novelty joke tank. It's worth more than just the comedy value. It is actually an incredibly well-armoured machine. The hull and turret have consistent armour profiles all around. At the front, they are both 180mm thick. At the sides, they're both 150mm thick. At the rear, make sure you're sitting down for this, the rear armour of the KV-5 on both the hull and the turret is 140mm thick. I've actually seen KV-5 drivers driving the tank around in reverse, with the gun and the turret pointing out over the back of the tank in order to cover up the tank's frontal weak spots, and it's hilarious, and it works. The tank does, however, have frontal weak spots, but again, they're only weak compared to the rest of the armour on the tank. In fact, one of them is... It's a little known secret that one of the so-called frontal weak spots on the KV-5 is actually the strongest armoured part of the tank. There are two mini turrets at the front. One of them is where the radio operator sits, and it's the bigger of the two, it's a machine gun turret. The other is where the driver sits. Now, the radio operator port, infamously referred to as the R2-D2 turret on the KV-5, is actually 120mm thick of armour, which is weak compared to the rest of the front of the KV-5, which is 180mm. And it's rounded. Again, if you don't hit it square on, chances are you're likely to bounce. The other little turret, if you like, which you can just see peeking out there around the side of the main turret of the tank, is where the driver sits. Do not be shooting at that. No good will come of it. The armour on it is actually 180mm thick, and it's sloped, and it's rounded. It's actually the most heavily armoured part of the tank. But you would be amazed at the people who consistently rage after bouncing shot after shot after shot on that so-called weak spot. But amusing though the previous replay may have been, we didn't really do that much damage. We were more sort of leading the way for the rest of the team to do all the damage for us, and more importantly, we kind of wasted our opportunity to do the one thing that the KV-5 does almost better than any other tank in World of Tanks. The KV-5, going downhill, will exceed 40 kilometers per hour. It weighs over 100 tons, and it has 180mm of armour at the front. When you're driving the KV-5, if you are not ramming absolutely everything that you can see, son, you're doing it wrong. Me, Ike, and Quickie Baby, actually that should be Quickie Baby, Ike, and I for all the grammar Nazis, we're taking our KV-5s up to the top of the hill on Himmelsdorf. Now, the reason we're doing this is because it's the only place on the entire map we can actually build up enough speed to really hurt something when we ram into them. So it may seem like a stupid idea, but remember, like most plans, if it's stupid but it works, it isn't stupid. But I like the plan. I think it's a good plan. Hell, it's a beautiful plan. You have to believe in the plan. Unfortunately, the plan is not going to go quite as, well, as planned. Due to a slight error in communication, we're going to lose one of our comrade KV-5s. But it's still a good plan, and it's a funny plan, and it's really going to upset somebody. So it's totally worth it. So here we are, top of the hill. Comrade KV-5s, gun your engines. And we're starting to build up speed. There's a T-29 and there's a Centurion. We don't really care about the Centurion. We're going to put some shots into him as we drive past, but we are not stopping for the Centurion. T-29 is the most likely target at the moment. There's also a Super Pershing over there, and this is kind of where the miscommunication comes in. Quickie Baby thinks we're going to go for the Super Pershing, and he pretty much perfectly blocks this guy's retreat, expecting us to crash into him. But me and Ike have spotted an IS-3, and he's at the bottom of the hill, and look at the speed we're doing coming down here. And he knows what's coming. He's frantically trying to get out of the way, but he backs up into a corner and booyah! 671 ramming damage. 100 tons of tank meets 50 tons of tank at 45 kilometers per hour. There can be only one survivor. And that IS-3 driver was not happy. Not happy at all. Unfortunately, we kind of had to feed the tanks at the top of the hill a Quickie Baby to keep them quiet, while me and Ike were having the time of our lives with the IS-3 down here at the bottom of the hill. But we're going to avenge him. We're definitely going to avenge him. Super Pershing and T-29, and we're coming back for you. And I am bouncing APCR from the T-29 here. Kind of like driving the Black Prince, because this is such a boxy tank, you never drive it straight at anybody. You always angle it, even when you're driving towards an enemy tank. Remember, even the side of this thing is 150mm thick. If you give them enough of the side of your tank for them to think it's worth taking the risk shooting at it, it'll just bounce shot after shot after shot, or at the very worst, you'll lose your tracks. I was trying to finish off the Super Pershing here, but do you see that? See how the T-29 came forward and ate the shot? I don't know if he did it on purpose, but if he did, well played. And now, well, he sees Icon low health, and he decides he's going to ram him. And it works, but 100 tons of tank. Even in death, KV-5 claims a victim. Super Pershing puts one into me, don't really care, got enough health. Finished off the Centurion. This guy's now the last one left alive. Remember how I said the rear of this tank is 140mm thick? Yeah. Oh, this tank is great. It really, really is. It's one of the most fun tanks to play in a platoon in the entire game. I can highly recommend it whenever it's on sale in the gift shop. As always, folks, hope you enjoyed the video. Take care on that battlefield, and I'll catch you next time.